Okay, so you know how like everyone and their dog is talking about Chat GPT these days?
Yeah, it's everywhere you look, right?
Right, exactly. Well, get ready because things are about to get like even wilder. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into AI agents.
Ooh, AI agents.
AI agents, yep. Think of them kind of like ChatGPT, but on steroids.
Mm.
So they're not just answering your questions, they're actually like doing things for you.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big shift. We're moving from like AI that just gives you info
Yeah.
to AI that can take action based on, your instructions.
Yeah. So less like, hey, what's the weather today? And more like, book me a flight to, I don't know, someplace sunny.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So the company behind ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, just released this new tool called Deep Research.
Hmm.
And that's where we're going to start our deep dive today. We're going to unpack what deep research is, why these so-called AI agents are such a big deal, and like what are some things we should watch out for as this whole AI thing keeps evolving at warp speed.
Yeah, it's definitely moving fast.
Uh-huh.
So OpenAI, they call Deep Research an AI agent for research. And to really understand why that's so different, imagine you're trying to figure out like the impact of tariffs, let's say, on the U.S. economy and also like the world economy over the past, I don't know, 50 years.
Ugh, that sounds about as fun as a root canal.
Right. For most of us, it would be a massive, massive undertaking. You're talking mountains of data, like news articles, reports, economic data, all this stuff. It could take weeks or even months to get a decent grasp of the situation.
Oh, I would definitely give up after the first like 10 Google search results.
Totally. But here's the kicker, right? Deep research can do all of that, not in weeks or months, but in minutes.
Like, seriously, minutes.
In minutes. And it doesn't just like spit out a jumble of facts. Like it actually gives you a polished report. Like it looks really nice, complete with charts, graphs, images, the whole 9 yards. Like a super-powered research assistant just summarized decades of economic data just for you.
So while deep research is like crunching all those numbers and making pretty charts, I could be, I don't know, actually enjoying my life.
Yeah, you could. I mean, the speed and scope of these AI agents, it really is mind-blowing.
Is.
But it also makes you kind of wonder, are we becoming too reliant on them? Like what happens to, good old-fashioned human analysis and critical thinking?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because even the smartest AI, it's not perfect.
Exactly. AI models, while they are getting better all the time, they can still make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And they might present information that sounds totally convincing, but is actually like inaccurate.
Oh, it's like that friend who like always has an answer, but sometimes they're just making stuff up.
Yeah, a very eloquent friend, but yeah, that's the gist of it. So even with amazing tools like deep research, we can't just blindly accept the information. We need to like cross-check, use our own judgment. And remember that AI is a tool. It's not a replacement for our own thinking.
Definitely. So deep research is just one example of an AI agent, right?
Right.
The source we read also mentioned another one called Operator. What's that all about?
Yeah, so Operator takes this idea of like an AI assistant and it goes a step further, right? So it focuses on more direct actions.
Mm-hmm.
Think of like ordering stuff online, booking an Uber, even having your groceries delivered based on a recipe you found online.
So now we're not just talking about like research, we're talking about AI actually like interacting with the world around us,
Yeah.
actually doing things in the real world. That's kind of a big deal, isn't it?
It is. It gives us a glimpse into, I think, a future where AI agents are kind of seamlessly woven into our lives, handling all sorts of tasks, big and small.
Okay, this is getting really interesting and potentially a little scary. This is like straight out of science fiction. Like what other AI agents are out there and just how much power are we giving them?
Well, that's a question a lot of people are asking, and we'll dive into that a bit more in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, sounds good. I'm ready.
All right.
All right, so we're back. And before we kind of went off on that tangent, we were talking about how these AI agents are starting to sound less like, something from Star Wars and more like, well, our actual future.
Yeah, it's true. They are becoming more and more, part of our daily lives, and it really does raise some big questions about like how we work, how we learn, and even how we make decisions.
Yeah, I completely agree. It feels like we're kind of standing on the edge of another one of those like massive technological shifts, like when the internet like
Yeah.
exploded onto the scene, or when everyone suddenly had a smartphone, glued to their hand.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a pivotal moment. And just like with those past leaps forward, there are going to be challenges and opportunities and disruptions,
Hmm.
the whole shebang.
Yeah. So okay, let's try to be optimistic for a second. What are some of the ways that these AI agents could actually, make our lives better?
Well, think about all the time and mental energy we spend on tasks that are, let's be honest, pretty tedious.
Hmm?
AI agents have the potential to really free us from a lot of that drudgery.
Okay, so like instead of me spending hours like comparing different travel insurance policies, trying to figure out which one is actually like worth it, an AI agent could do all the comparing and contrasting, and I could just, enjoy my vacation.
Exactly. AI could handle all the research, the planning, the logistics. It would leave you with more time and energy to focus on, things that really require your unique human skills and insights.
Okay, I like where this is going. So, like, instead of doing all that boring stuff, I could, focus on like deciding whether to pack an extra swimsuit or finally finish that novel I've been, meaning to write.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And think about the potential in other areas, like education, for example. Imagine AI agents that can, create customized learning plans for each student, adapting to their strengths, their weaknesses, their learning styles in a way that, no human teacher ever could.
Oh wow, yeah, that would be a game changer for a lot of kids, especially those who don't really thrive in a traditional classroom setting.
Exactly, exactly. Or in healthcare.
Yeah.
Imagine AI agents that are monitoring your health 24/7, catching early warning signs and even connecting you with the right specialists before, a minor issue becomes a major problem.
Okay, now that you mention it, that does sound pretty amazing. Like having a 247 like personal health advisor, it's like having a whole team of, experts in your pocket ready to help whenever you need them.
It's a pretty compelling vision of the future, but we also need to remember that AI agents are at their core tools.
Hmm.
They're only as good as the instructions we give them and the data they're trained on.
Right, right. So if we feed them like a bunch of junk information or poorly defined goals, they're not going to magically produce like brilliant results. It's kind of like that saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly, exactly. That's why it's so crucial to approach the development and deployment of these AI agents with a strong sense of responsibility, and ensuring that they're designed and trained in a way that aligns with our values and our goals as a society.
Okay, so we've covered some of the exciting potential upsides, but let's be real. There are some serious downsides to consider too, right? I mean, aside from the AI potentially developing a taste for really terrible pizza toppings.
Yeah, yeah, the pizza topping apocalypse,
Yeah.
that's a big one. But there are other perhaps more pressing issues to consider. One of the biggest is the potential for these AI agents to perpetuate or even amplify, existing biases.
Oh, that's a good point. So if the data that's used to train these AI agents is skewed in a certain direction, the AI could end up, making decisions or recommendations that are unfair or discriminatory.
Yeah, it's a real risk. For example, imagine an AI agent that's used to help companies with hiring. If it's trained on data that reflects historical gender or racial biases in a particular industry, it might unintentionally recommend candidates that fit those same bias patterns.
So even if the AI itself like isn't inherently biased, it could still end up like perpetuating those societal biases if it's not trained on, carefully curated balanced data. That's a pretty sobering thought.
It is, and that's why it's absolutely crucial to be mindful of the data that's being used to train these AI agents. Making sure it's as diverse and representative as possible.
Yeah, and what about privacy? These AI agents are going to be like collecting a ton of data about our lives, right?
Yeah.
Our habits, our preferences, maybe even our deepest thoughts and fears. How do we make sure that information is protected and not, misused?
That's a critical question, and we need clear regulations and strong safeguards in place to really protect our privacy in this new AI-driven world.
Yeah, we don't want to end up living in a world where like our every move is being tracked and analyzed, and where, our AI agents are kind of like manipulating us without us even realizing it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
We need transparency, we need accountability, and we need the ability to control our own data and how it's used. It's about, striking a balance between, leveraging the power of AI and preserving our fundamental rights and freedoms.
Okay, this is getting pretty heavy,
Yeah.
We've got AI agents potentially like automating away our jobs, maybe even making decisions for us without us, even realizing it. Are we just kind of like handing over the keys to our lives to these super intelligent algorithms?
Well, it's not quite that
Yeah.
that dire, but it is a valid concern. One way to think about it is that AI agents, even with their incredible, capabilities, they're still tools. They're extensions of our own intelligence and ingenuity.
So it's not about AI like replacing us. It's about AI, augmenting us, helping us to reach new heights and accomplish things we never could on our own.
That's a more, hopeful perspective, and one that I tend to agree with. But it does require us to adapt, to evolve, and to constantly reassess our role in this evolving landscape.
Yeah, so instead of, being afraid of the rise of the machines, maybe we should be thinking about how we can partner with these AI agents, how we can use them to enhance our abilities and solve some of the world's, most pressing problems.
So that's a thought worth exploring.
Okay, so we're back. And, it's kind of wild to think about how much we've already talked about. Like, we started off talking about these AI agents like they were straight out of a movie.
Yeah, like some distant future.
But now it really feels like, that they're practically here.
It does. It really does. They're becoming more and more integrated into our lives, even if we don't, really realize it.
That's true, yeah. I mean, just think about all those personalized recommendations we get when we're, shopping online or scrolling through, like, Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Those are powered by AI agents working behind the scenes.
And they're just going to, keep getting more sophisticated, more capable.
Yeah, and as we discussed, those same AI agents have the potential to do so much more, right? Like revolutionize healthcare, education, transportation, the list goes on.
It does. I mean, the possibilities are really pretty mind-blowing.
They are, but we can't forget about the potential downsides either. Like, we talked about bias, privacy concerns, the possibility of jobs being displaced. Some pretty serious stuff.
We can't just brush those aside. I mean, those are real issues that we need to be thinking about, proactively addressing as AI gets more powerful.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential, the pitfalls, the big picture, but, at the end of the day, what does it all mean for us, like as individuals? How do we navigate this whole new world of AI agents without losing ourselves in the process?
That's the question, isn't it? And I don't know if there's a simple answer, but I think it's, it's crucial for all of us to start thinking about our own, personal relationship with AI.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for starters, we need to educate ourselves, right? Like really understand what AI is, how it works, what it can do, what it can't do.
Yeah.
We can't just blindly accept it or reject it,
So knowledge is power, as they say.
Exactly. And with that knowledge, we can start making more informed choices about how much we want to rely on these AI agents in what areas of our lives and with what, safeguards in place.
Right. So it's about setting boundaries in a way. Like just because AI can do something doesn't mean we should always, let it.
Absolutely. We need to be mindful of what tasks we delegate to AI and what tasks we choose to keep for ourselves.
Yeah, so maybe it's about finding that right balance, like using AI to take care of those things that, maybe we don't enjoy doing or we're not particularly good at, while, at the same time reserving our time and energy for things that truly matter to us, the things that bring us joy or challenge us or, connect us to other people.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's about using AI as a tool to enhance our lives, not to control them.
Right, exactly. So instead of, being afraid of AI taking over, maybe we should be thinking about how AI can help us become, I don't know, more fully human.
That's a really thought-provoking idea. What if instead of replacing us, AI actually helps us to discover and cultivate our unique, human strengths.
I like that, yeah. Maybe it's not about human versus machine, but about human and machine working together to create something really, really remarkable.
It's definitely an exciting possibility, and one that I think is worth, really striving for.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive into this world of AI agents, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that, the future of AI is not like set in stone.
No, definitely not.
It's something that we're all shaping, right here, right now, with every choice we make.
And with every conversation we have, right?
Exactly.
It's a future that's full of potential, both, the good and the challenging. And it's really up to us to decide what kind of future we want to create.
So true. So true. So to everyone listening, be curious, be informed, be engaged, and don't be afraid to, ask those tough questions. Because at the end of the day, the future of AI is really in our hands.
Well said. And who knows what incredible possibilities await us, along the way.
That's what makes it so fascinating. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. And until next time, keep exploring.